Carts. Today we're going to continue working on Harrison's Stage 1 upgrade kit. We're going to be doing the springs, the timing key, and I also found out that the fan for the flywheel that they sent us is actually supposed to help reduce drag. So we're actually going to install that and we'll have the full kit done and we'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes. And hopefully we can tell some definite performance increases, and maybe we can actually decrease our time and increase our speed on our little straightaway out here. So we'll go ahead and get right down to it. I'll see you guys over here at the valve cover. Okay, we're going to start by taking off 4 8mm bolts. That you're also going to want to do is pull off your spark plug cap, tuck it out of the way, and you're also going to want to pull off the breather. That way you can get to this bolt right here in the top. Okay, and there's your valve cover. As you can see, our valve cover gasket stayed on. We'll just go ahead and pull that off. Okay, I'm going to get you guys in here a little bit closer. Hopefully my hands don't get in the way. If they do, just bear with me. Okay, now before you take your rockers off, you want to make sure that the crankshaft and the piston are at top dead center. I already did it. You can see that there's no tension on the springs because I've got plenty of play on these rockers. You're going to need a 14mm wrench on the bottom part and 10mm on the top. Alright, so that one was on there actually really tight, so I had to break the impact gun out. I didn't know how long it was going to take me, that's why I didn't get it on video. So we're just going to pull those 2 nuts off. Those are 10mm. These are what help us set our valve lash. Rocker off. Alright, and we should just be able to hang on, I will be right back. I gotta see how this works. Okay, after doing a little bit of research, I had gotten ahead of myself. You should take some piece of 1/4 inch rope, or in this case 550 cord, and you should put it into the spark plug hole and then pull your starter cord just a little bit to get the piston to come up the rest of the way. That way when you go to remove your springs, the valve doesn't fall down to where you can't get to it. Now to remove these, if I can do this the right way, you have to push it down on the outer part since this has never been done on my engine and I ran it before, it's a little bit on the stubborn side. Alright, so there's one of those keepers, and then it just comes out like that. So mine has these keepers on here. Instead of having an oblong shape where you can just slide the valve out, mine has to have these keepers right here that have notches in them that help hold the valve retaining cover on. We're going to put those in. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera off because it's going to be a pretty intense process to try and get these on here, and I want you to be able to see the finished result, not the pain in the butt that it takes to put them in there. So I'm gonna do one, see how bad it's gonna be, and then I'm gonna do another, and I might get that one on film. So I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, we're back. Now they say that necessity is the mother of invention, so that's exactly what we have done. You can see I've already got this first set of keepers installed. Everything looks pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing that I just did, and I'll show you guys this tool that I made that actually worked out really well. So we're going to take our spring, we're going to put the cap on it just like that, and then we're going to get our keepers and put those in just like they would be if they were seated on the spring. If I can get it to cooperate. Okay, so you want it to look about like that. So that would be right before we put it down on the spring. Now, you want to go ahead, you want to be careful, make sure you don't drop the keepers in the engine. So you're going to set it on top of your push rod like that. Excuse me, not your push rod, your valve. And then you're going to take the tool that we just made. You're going to set it on top of that valve cap. And you're going to push down. And eventually, you'll be able to get it on there. If your stuff doesn't jump out like this did. Okay, so that one's in there. I do apologize for my hand being in the way. Okay, so that's all back in there. There we go. Come on. Okay, now sometimes this will happen where the bottom one or one of them won't catch. So you just want to keep trying again and see if you can't get it to seat the way it's supposed to. Which is what we're going to do. We're going to keep on trying. It's funny enough, it worked fantastically the very first time that I did it when I did the other spring. And it would be the case that this one not wanting to do what it's supposed to do. Hopefully you understand the concept. I'm going to try and get this thing going, and I'll see you guys back in just a second. Okay, now they've been installed. Boy, that was a pain in the butt, let me tell you. So, next thing we got to do, we got to put our rockers back on. So, if you look on your rocker, there's one side that's pushed out, there's one side that's got to push in. The pushed out side has a hole, has a dent in it for the lifter. So that's going to go on like that. Do the same on this side. And you'll take your adjuster, screw it in. What we're going to do, we're going to take our feeler gauges, and I'm going to find 3/1000ths of an inch. Here's my 3/1000ths of an inch. Now we're going to drop our 10mm nuts back on here. Okay, so I don't know if you caught it or not, but the adjuster actually just twisted. So we're going to have to make sure that that one is set where we want it to go. Double check both of these. Yeah, looks like that one got a little bit tight on us too. Okay, so that's about good. And there we go. So what I'm doing is I'm just adjusting this, tightening and loosening until I get a good little bit of resistance on here, but not so much that it pinches it. Okay, let's call that good to go. Now we're going to get our 14mm wrench and our 10mm socket, and you want to be very careful and try and keep your hand as steady as possible so that you don't throw off your alignment. That is 8mm. Where did my 10mm go? Bear with me. We're going to get a hold of that, and we're going to snug it down. Like I said, you want to be very careful and try not to move your 14mm adjusting nut. Okay, check our clearance one more time, just to make sure nothing's shifted on us at the very last possible time. So we're gonna break them loose again and readjust them and keep going back and forth like this until we get them right where we want to be. So I'll be right back after everything's done. Okay, now that everything's installed, I'm going to make sure that it all functions properly by pulling on the starter cord. Looks good to me. So let's go ahead and put everything back together. We need to put our gasket and valve cover back on. Let's see how she sounds. See if there's any noticeable difference. Well, it definitely seems like it's got a throatier sound to it. Alright, unfortunately that's all that we have time to do this week. I'm going to be out of town over the weekend, so I wanted to go ahead and wrap things up, and next week we'll be doing the 8-degree timing key and the low drag starter fan. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for next week's episode. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up if you like what was going on this week. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to seeing you guys back again next week. So be safe, have fun, and I'll see you guys around.